is preparing, and we are live, gorgeous girl. Thank you, Ali. How lovely to have you join us.
Hello.
Ali is a gorgeous single mom. All moms are gorgeous, and all single moms are freaking amazing. We can have our own little giggle. So it has its challenges, and it certainly has. I'm a single mom too, and yes, it has been challenging, but I'd like to say, and I'm sure you'll say that too, that we have been through a lot and we have come out the other side. Would that be safe to say?
Oh, 100% safe to say. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'll allow you to share your story a little bit with us, so that we just want to be relatable. To let the goal really is to let single parents. I'm not going to say moms, single parents, because we've got a lot of single dads in this group as well. So our goal really is to share our story with the single parents in this group, and hopefully to show them that light at the end of the tunnel, because there are days ups and downs, and although we say that we've come on to the other side, we do have challenges too. But the way I see it, that they are a lot more short-lived than they used to be in the past, and they no longer defeat us. They are achievable because we shift, we have changed, we have transformed ourselves, because that's really the only work we ever do is within ourselves. So I'll let you take it away, gorgeous.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on. I really appreciate it. My journey kind of spans over, the last 25 years, if you will. But the single parent part of my journey is that I got married quite young at the age of 20. And by the time I was 23, my husband was about 3 years older than me. We had a lot going on. So we had 2 children under the age of 14 months.
And how old were you?
So I was 23. So they were born, my kids were born 13 and a half months apart. We had a mortgage that we couldn't afford. My husband was out of work. And because of that, we decided to start our own home-based business. So, because we didn't have much money, anything that we did have was kind of given to us, donated to us, or bought secondhand. And I was also, because of my children, it's not because of my children, but I was suffering from postnatal depression. And my husband at the time, I didn't realise, was actually on drugs as well. So you can imagine that. I believe that he was doing that to be able to cope with all the stresses that was happening. So, and I've had to do a lot of work around that myself as well. But you can imagine, this is what I describe as kind of like a boiling pot ready to explode. And
Explode, yeah.
In the form of domestic violence. So this relationship itself, even though I didn't recognise it for what it was at the time, it was a very hard, difficult time for me and all of us. So not just for me, it was for all of us, my husband at the time as well.
That is really important to acknowledge, because often when we're going through a hard time, our human nature is to focus on us and how hard this is for me. Yeah. And that's a good point you make, because men cope with stress differently. A lot of them are go into avoidance, because that's where they feel they can cope, and that's great for a short term, but it doesn't work in the long term.
That's right. And for me personally, that was particularly something that I had to work on, forgiveness for my ex-husband, because, I blamed him a lot for the way our marriage turned out. And the thing that I've had to come to, in myself, is that we, in a sense, we were both responsible. Now, let me explain that. Do we deserve abuse and violence? No one deserves it. However, it was almost like the ramifications of the situation that happened. So I have worked over, a span of time to be able to forgive him. And even in a weird way, your members might think this is a bit weird, but in a weird way, I have a love for him, because he is still
Absolutely.
the father of my children.
Now, our members are very much on that track. This is what we are about. Beautiful. We are about, we do it for ourselves. We forgive them. We forgive ourselves. We love them, because that's the love we give to ourselves, because that's what allows us to heal and move on. You can't until you have done that.
Well, that's exactly right. So when I came out of this situation, when I left that marriage, I I was literally in a spot of, I was very suicidal. It was kind of like, you know, that scene in the Hunger Games when I had pills on the bed. My husband was away. I was ready to take them all to end my life. And it sounds dramatic. It wasn't. It's not dramatic.
It is what it is, though, isn't it, Ellie?
It was horrible. It was an awful feeling. It was just like, I don't know what to do anymore. And this was before I left the marriage. And very soon after that night, you know, thankfully the two things or two people that stopped me from doing that to myself were my children, who at the time were, I think, about 4 and 5. And that it kind of chokes me up because I'm so grateful for that gift that my ex-husband gave me in those children, because essentially.
Yeah, and that's a journey in itself. So for all the parents listening, you may not be here and that's fine, but this is the journey, and it's a journey to come to forgiveness. It's not meant to happen instantly.
No, and
it is a process, and it won't happen. Forgiveness, and then comes gratitude. Gratitude for that person who caused us what they did, because we wouldn't be the people we are today had we not had the challenges. Nothing allows us to grow as much as our challenges do. So I say bring on the challenges, because I'm here to grow.
I know. Oh, and Yolanda, I know. I need to share this, actually, if it's okay.
Please go for it. Go for it.
I love that you say that it's a journey that we go on, and it is absolutely a journey. So this was a while ago. My children now are in their mid-20s, and a couple of years ago, my son got married, and this for me in particular was a huge moment, because I had to come to the decision that, you know, we were going to make our son's wedding the best day it could possibly be for him, no matter what. So of course, you know, their dad was there and I was there, and we both had our respective partners. And one of the most wonderful things about that day, besides our son getting married, was that we were able to sit together for our son, both in the ceremony and at the reception as well. And there was one particular moment when we were up taking communion. So both sets of parents were taking communion with the kids getting married. And I'm getting choked up.
That's beautiful.
My ex-husband put his arms around me. And I could just see, I looked at my son and I could see him getting teary, because, you know, I don't think he ever thought that would happen, that mum and dad would stand solidly together.
How much does it mean to our kids that no matter what they had to go through, they chose not to be together, but they still respect each other? It's a big gift we can give to our kids. And a lot of parents have been through hell and back and abuse and a lot of things, but to be committed to go on that journey, knowing that there has to be forgiveness at the end, which begins with ourselves, and allowing that sense of gratitude to flow through, is such a beautiful gift to our kids.
It was an amazing day, and I look back on that day now with fondness. I mean, don't get me wrong, let's put some reality into it. There were times in that day when I got a little bit antsy. Okay.
Yep. Good on you for mentioning that. Yeah, let's cover that too. Yes, that does come through.
Yeah. So you know, and there were times when I wanted to, when I had the temptation to say, speak back to my ex-husband, but I knew that would have caused friction, and the day wasn't about us, it was about our son. Something else that we have, you know, him and I have discussed over the years is that, you know, we do have 2 children together. And not only now that they're getting married, they're getting partners, but eventually, hopefully soon, we are going to be grandparents. You know, there's a lot of things that we've had to deal with over the years, and I just want to again put some reality into it and say that hasn't been all a bed of roses. We have both, him and I, had to work hard together on our relationship that's different as it is now. You know, but it's almost like, you know, I call him, how would I describe him? Maybe he's a distant friend, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
When we
better than some of the abusive words parents can call the other partners.
That's right. And I understand that, you know, when we're first coming out of that situation, it's very tempting to want to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is when we need to bring the focus back to ourselves and remember that, you know, it's about us looking after ourselves as parents so we can be the best parents we can. You know, I very much, when I first left that marriage, I did try, as I said, to try to put the blame onto him.
Yeah. And it's what we do. I want us to acknowledge that it's our way of coping. It is part of the process. That's how we deal, because we can't take it on ourselves at that time.
Grief.
We often adopt the victim role.
Yes.
But let's be aware. Let's be aware. Let's be conscious. Let's choose the victim role consciously, knowing that, okay, I'll have to put this down for my own growth. Right now, this serves me.
Yes. And it's part of the grief that we go through, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
when we come out of something that we thought, you know, was going to last, and for whatever reason it hasn't, and then, like you say, come out of it, and it's a natural part of the grieving process. So it's been, that's only part of my journey. I have had a second marriage, but you know, we're here to talk about the as parents, as single parents, and this is
lovely. So I guess what I'm going to share, well, thank you for sharing that. That was very heartwarming and brought, I'm sure, many parents to tears, because it is so relatable, so relatable. I'd like to ask you, Ali, if you look back at where you were at, and you mentioned that you did feel like the victim, like it was about you and you weren't being, and it was true. You can look at all the reasons why that was true. However, as you reflect back then, what was it that you could not have known? I want to mention that there is no way you could have known, but you know now, and how will it help other parents going through different stages of their single parenting to know what's that gold nugget you could share with parents out there that would help them on whatever stage of journey that they are?
I think for me personally, one thing that I was not willing to accept, and this was a little bit because of my upbringing. I've been brought up as a very strong in my faith as a Christian, and something that I chose to believe was that to be a successful woman and a successful parent, that I needed to provide my children with a 2-parent household, which,
oh my God, I've got goosebumps. That was me too.
Yeah. And while I won't go into it too much, that was actually the essence of why I went in search of my second husband. And that marriage was abusive as well in its own way. But, you know, that's something that I would love to just put out there to your group, is that, you know, I just believe that it's important that we just love ourselves for the individuals as we are. You know, our children are resilient. Okay. And if you don't mind, I've got another little story, and I think I shared this with you the other day when we were talking. This is amazing. When I left my husband, I left with $50 in the bank. That was it. $50, and we had the clothes on our back. We had our clothes and some furniture. I didn't have a house. I moved in with a friend, so I didn't have a lot. And you know, I very quickly had to figure out how to bring my income, but for a while we didn't have much money. And the other day I was spending some time with my children and their partners, and they were reminiscing. My children were reminiscing on the first house which we were in, which wasn't one of the best houses, right? And they were talking about a meal that I used to give them. Now, can I tell you, this meal literally cost me probably about $3 to feed them. That was because I didn't have much, but it was mac and cheese. And what I used to do was put the mac and cheese on the plate, and then I used to make a smiley face. So they called it, they had a name for it. It was like smiley face mac and cheese. So, you know, we had cucumbers for the eyes. I think I had tomatoes cut in half for the mouth. I think we had like a carrot for the nose, and I had something for the ears, but I don't remember what that was. Yeah. And children were looking back on that in fondness the other day. And I got really choked up, and I just sat there thinking, my goodness, I don't think they realise how difficult that was for me. I thought at the time that I was being a bad mum because I couldn't feed my children properly. Yet now my children in their mid-20s are looking back on that particular meal with as a great memory, and it's with fondness. So, you know, I think something that we also do as single parents, particularly fresh, you know, is we give ourselves a very hard time, and we think that because, you know, we think we're not good enough, we're not good single parents, but we are resilient too. And we do what we need to do.
Lovely. So you've covered two beautiful points there for me, you know, but that I really wanted this talk to cover, and that is guilt. A lot of single parents feel massive guilt that they have taken away that parenting that they would love to give their child. And I would love that parents stop and question the guilt, recognize guilt for what it is. It is like, I work with emotions. My program is called Emotional Mastery for Parents. So emotions are what drive us. Emotions are what bring us that family, that bonded connection family, connected family that we are all seeking. So emotions are key. I cannot emphasize, no matter what we're doing, being in touch with our emotions, mastering our emotions equals a successful life. Point. No matter which area of your life you're working on, your emotions are driving it. So our goal is to master them. And that's why I bring up the emotion of guilt. It is a dense emotion. It does not serve us at all. It is a negative emotion that puts us on a whole lower vibration and brings to us kids that then meet us there at that low vibration and challenges from there. And guilt is a burden. I cannot emphasize it enough. Guilt is a burden to our kids. And which parents doesn't have guilt? So if we can become aware of what guilt is about and exactly question, like you did there, question the thought behind the guilt, asking, is it true? And often than not, it is not true that you have ripped your kids off two parents, but because the two of you together was not the best energy for that child, for your kids. You've actually gifted them the opportunity to accept their parents, both of them, on a whole different level, and to see that they need to stand true in relationships and who they choose to be with, by you standing true to yourself and having boundaries and having respect for yourself. Again, forgiving them is a beautiful thing we teach our kids. Forgiving the other person, even though they've done them wrong. Like you said, abuse, domestic abuse, there's no right about it, but understanding their coping mechanism of the other person, possibly even the way they were raised as well. And if we can see the whole and not just take it personally, we are able to drop our need to stay at that low vibration. And our kids get to witness it. I know through my own separation 4 years ago, my kids have grown so much because of the way that I was lucky that because I did this work, I could approach it in a whole new way. As I left my ex, I was able to love him through every stage. Every time we met, we hugged. Every time, even though he wasn't there, compassion. The kids faced challenges with my ex through that separation. I got them to have compassion for where he's at. And it's asks a lot for kids. They were 15, they were 12 and 17 when it happened. It's a lot to ask of kids because they had to actually be the adult in those interactions. So guilt is a big one which you brought out. So thank you so much for sharing. The other thing I want to really bring up is that getting into a new relationship without doing the work, you will attract similar patterns. So really, yes, it's hard. Yes, we need somebody and we feel we can cope better, and you want to give your kids that exposure. And I was there too. I couldn't wait I felt so bad what I had done, and I went through that whole cycle. So it is important to realize that the best time is when you are your best, when you have worked on yourself, loving yourself, accepting yourself, respecting yourself, and meet that person there. Then from that vibration, from that energy, otherwise we're going to be reinventing the wheel and wasting so much precious time and emotions and putting our kids through a lot more drama than what you would like to.
And that's interesting that you say that, actually. Yes, you know, we need to kind of bring it back to ourselves and almost kind of let it go, let that notion of having, to have the two-parent household, let it go. Once I let go and I worked on myself and I let go of that thought pattern of needing to have a significant other and needing to have a father figure in the household for my children, ironically, that was when I found my partner now, because I just let it go, and the universe almost like brought him to me,
Because you're then a vibration match as well.
Exactly. And we are, and we've been together happily for 8.5 years now. So do you know what I mean? So
because it didn't come from scarcity or a need to be filled. It came from an abundance. It came from didn't come from lack. Lovely. So we've got a whole lot of people watching. We've got comments coming through commending you, Ali. That is courageous of you, and sending you big hugs. So well done, Ali. Well done. I almost want to do a next talk with you for single parents, when to enter your next relationship.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
When is it a good time to enter into a new relationship for your kids, for yourself, for where you're at, and what needs to be done in that time? So if anyone watching here, if you think that would interest you, put in the comment section, give us a thumbs up if you would like to dive into this journey and being ready to call in your new relationship, your new partner, because everything's possible. We are limitless. We are only limited by our own beliefs. We are only limited by our own worthiness. And that's the work it's like that jigsaw puzzle. We have to spend that time figuring it out and working through. We've got a thumbs up there. They want to hear that.
Nice.
So let's do that. All right. Any last words for us, Ali? Thank you so much for joining us today.
No worries. I would just like to say to everyone, just accept, as single parents, accept that you're not perfect. No one's going to be perfect. I talk a lot in my own classes, in my own group, about accepting our perfect imperfections, no matter where we are in life, because no one's perfect. And I think, often when we get into the single parent mode, we think that we need to be the absolute perfect parent for our children to make up for the fact that they don't have that two-parent, two-parent household. So love yourself for your choice, for what you've done, and just, remember that you are amazing. You're doing an incredible job as a single parent, even though you might not think so. Your children are resilient, and they are, like my children, eventually going to look back on, the little things that you think might be failures. They might look back on them with fondness.
Yeah, they absolutely do, because they connect to the joy of the parent.
Yeah.
And so for us, being in our best joyful state, which is challenging at times in itself, is the best gift you can give. And our joy is dependent on the thoughts we hold in our minds. So that's the TAR model that I talk about: thoughts, emotions, actions, results.
Exactly.
Beautiful. So for all of those of you watching us, if you'd like to know more, I do have a workshop coming up, Ali, on Saturday, the 16th of May. Is that the 15th or the 16th? I think it's the 15th. Yeah. Saturday, the 15th of May at 10:30 a.m. It's a 90-minute parenting workshop where I share what I shared with you just before, but I go into depths of understanding emotions. I go into depths of understanding how we can rise above them, and how emotions are so key, and how you can live your best life ever as you rise over your own emotional patterns, how you can take the power back of shifting the patterns of people around you by shifting your patterns. And that begins by mastering your emotions. So I look forward to those of you who are able to join us. Click on the link, join us then. I've also got my live parenting Q&A that happens in the Empowered Parents group every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. And this week we are talking about how to set boundaries. Ali, we're talking about how to set boundaries.
Oh, wow.
And how to maintain them and get your kids on board as well. Do you have any programs coming up, Ali, that you'd like to share?
I do, absolutely. So I have my own webinar masterclass coming up this Thursday. So it's at 10 a.m. Adelaide time, which I think is for you guys in Brisbane 10:30 a.m.
10:30.
It's called 5 Secrets to Awakening Your Confidence. And this is something that I work very much on with obviously a lot of single parents as well, because we really know that we have that lack of confidence and that lack of belief. So I would love to invite your members to that. And if the link is not going up shortly, I'll put it up.
It's already gone there. It's there. You're on it. Look at you. Multitasker you.
They're on it, multitasking. I would love to see you there on Thursday morning. It would be wonderful to have you join us. And also, if you would like to come and join my group, Women Rising Above, it's just a little more support for any women who, you know, would just, it's all about bringing the love back to ourselves, you know, and just
spot on. Yeah. So put in the link to your group as well, so our members can get value from your group as well. Awesome. And that is exactly why we do what we do, offering our members so much more value and loving them through both and supporting them through both our groups. Lovely. Thank you so much. It's been such a joy to have you.
Thank you.
And an absolute pleasure as well. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.